Wittig reaction is a reaction in which an aldehyde or a ketone is reacted with an Weyl. Now I'll tell you what is Weyl. Weyl is this structure that I'm drawing. It's an organophosphorus compound. We'll see how this Weyl is prepared. Okay, so it's basically this PPH3O is eliminated. Okay, PPH3 is eliminated, and whatever is left is nothing but what? An alkene. So basically, aldehydes or ketones are converted to higher alkenes or converted to alkenes. Is basically the oxygen is substituted by alkylidine group. This is your alkylidine group. So for example, let's take benzaldehyde. Okay, so this is benzaldehyde, CHO, right? And you take any organophosphorus violet. So let's say CCH3 double bond PH3. So what we will do, we will just remove this PPH3O. So that is a common product in all the Wittig reaction. Whenever you want to identify Wittig reaction, just look at this. If it is written a PPH3 sort of compound, it's always a Wittig reaction. So what is the product? You can also write down the product. So this is CH from the benzaldehyde part, and this is the Violet part. So you're getting an alkene, yes or no? So any type of aldehyde or a aldehyde or a ketone can be converted to, if I use the same compound over here, so you just have to, it's a very simple reaction. Instead of C double bond O, simply write that alkene part. This is your Wittig reaction, okay? And the byproduct is always same. You get an oxide, right? It is called as triphenyl phosphine oxide. Now let's see what exactly it means. So here in this reaction, the mechanism is divided into two parts. The first step is preparation of Wittig reagent. This is organophosphorus violet is called as a Wittig reagent. This is your Wittig reagent. So how is it prepared? So first we take triphenyl phosphine. This is triphenyl phosphine belonging to phosphorus belongs to group 15. No, so it has this lone pair of electron. And an alkyl halide is taken. Okay, so this is your alkyl halide. Now I'll simply write here substitution over here. And then we will see some examples. Now what happens is this electron pair, it attacks the carbon over here, and this is your leaving group, right? So you get a salt. Now PPH3, so you can write it this way. It will form a bond with CH R 1 2 3 4, yeah, CH R dash, right? And now since a lone pair of electron is utilized, it will be having a positive charge, and to balance that, it will have a negative counter ion. This is called as alkyl triphenyl phosphonium. How you write nitronium, right? Similar to that, this is triphenyl phosphonium halide. Now once this is formed, we react this with a base. You can take any strong base, okay? And like the solvent uses THF. Now what we are simply going to do, we are just going to remove this proton from here, okay? So this proton, when you remove, what you're going to get, PPH3C. Okay, this is R dash, right? This is R dash. So what else you can write over here? Now I'll write the rest of the product, C6H6, but LIX. It depends. This byproduct depends on your, simply on your uh, base. So if you remove this proton, what charge you will get on the chlorine, on the carbon? Negative charge. So you get this type of violet. You can write a resonating structure over here. So while writing the resonating structure, just put a double bond between this PPH3 double bond R R dash. So this is a resonating structure, and this is how you get a carbon with a negative charge. So this will be what? Your carbanium. So when the further reaction takes place, this is going to attack nucleophilically. So this is a nucleophilic attack now on the next step, on the aldehyde. So our next step is what? What we prepared just now is this. We got this, right? PH3. I'm writing it now this way. Okay, PPH3. Now what we have? We have an aldehyde or a ketone. So let's write it this way. I'll write it XY. Fine. So now this is having, this was your negatively charged, right? So if you want, we can also write it here. Uh, yeah. So let's write it negatively charged. This as positively charged. So this will attack, nucleophilic attack will take place because this is your carbanion. Now in the carbonyl group, C is partially positive and this is negative because oxygen is more electronegative. So this carbon is electrophilic. So negative charge will attack where? On the electrophilic carbon, and these electrons will move over here. So what you have now, C double bond, C R dash, okay, and uh, once you get this, we are going to draw a intermediate now. So this is your PPH3. This is your PPH3. Okay. This carbon has formed a bond with the carbon over here. This carbon has X and Y as a substituent, and this oxygen is over here. So this is negatively charged. This phosphorus is positively charged. This type of structure is called as betaine, which has a negative charge on oxygen and a positive charge on phosphorus. Once this betaine is formed, there is bond formation between phosphorus and oxygen. Okay, because see, negative charge and positive charge are in vicinity, so they will easily form a bond. So this is your PPH3, right? So this is a four-membered ring which is formed. It's an intermediate that is formed. So first intermediate is this betaine intermediate. Second intermediate is your four-membered ring structure. This four-membered ring structure is very short-lived and it breaks down. And how it breaks down? Here the double bond over the bond is going to shift over here and this bond is going to shift over here. This is called as reverse 2 plus 2 cycloaddition, and see what product you get. So this was your R dash from the aldehyde, and now it has sorry, from the vilide, and this has been converted to your alkene, and the next product that you get is your oxide. Okay, so basically the bond is breaking over here. This is what you have to remember. Fine. So now you got a new alkene. This is your new alkene. This is how the reaction takes place. So this is a mechanism. In short, I can you guys, so this is a reverse cycloaddition that is taking place, how the bonds break and new bonds are formed. So this part is the alkene part and this part is the oxide part. Okay, now these are some of the examples, so you can practice this examples. Now you just have to remember, wherever there is this double bond O written, and if you have PPH3, anything attached to carbon, so you simply have to show a bond between the carbon and oxygen. Now for example, this is your double bond and this is the PPH carbon. So now your bond formation is going to take place between, let's say I will call this as 1 and I will call this as 2 and 3. So your bond formation is going to take place between which carbon? First and third carbon. So if you want to write a product over here, simply identify. So this is my first carbon. So my bond formation is going to take place between first and third carbon. This is my third carbon. This is my second carbon. My second carbon is attached to O, and this is how the ring is formed. So you can draw a better ring also. Similarly, you can also get a structure like this. Now we just saw how the reaction takes place at the halide. So wherever there was this halide, if you could remember, if you want, you can go back. Here you have PPH3, and then with the help of the base, this proton is abstracted, and then wherever, in simple words, what you can do, wherever you have this halide, simply write there a double bond. Okay, so double bond PPH3 will be formed, and wherever there is PPH3 double bond and C double bond O, your bond formation is going to take place there. So let's say this is first carbon, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and this is sixth, and this is seventh, let's say. So you know that the bond formation is going to take place between first and fifth. So simply you know that's a double bond. So let's write first and fifth this way. Now first is attached to second, second is attached to third, third is attached to fourth, fourth is attached to fifth, and what is fifth attached to? Fifth carbon is attached to sixth carbon, and this is your seventh carbon. And this first carbon is also attached to a group. So this is how you should always go whenever ring formation is taking place. Just write the numbers and it's very easy to write the product. Similarly, this will now if you want you can practice it on your own as well. Wherever there is double bond, show this. So this is going to get removed and just attach the rest of the structure. This is the product. Now it's very easy. Now you know this is the product that is going to be formed. So where what would be the reagent over here? So this is your triphenyl phosphine violite. So simply write the same structure and just put PPH3 over here. This is how you will write. Okay, and these are some of the examples. If you want, we can let's say I'll give you few more examples. Just a second. Yeah. So let's say what is the use of this reaction? Most important use is you can prepare substituted alkenes. For instance, if you want to introduce an alkene group over here, okay, for benzophenol. So simply take PPH3 C double bond. So you can go for higher versions of alkenes, right? So C6H5, C6H5, C6H5 and C6H5. Suppose, let's say, the reaction is given like this. Now in exam, not necessarily you're going to get a straightforward reaction. So there are chances you may get a reaction of this type. Okay. Now how you going to write? Now you know wherever you have this halide, simply put a double bond PPH3. And wherever there is double bond PPH3, there is the reaction is going to take place there. So this PPH3 and this oxygen is going to be removed. Or you can directly see this how you are going to write. Wherever you have this halide, simply put a double bond over there and the remaining group of the aldehyde or a ketone. So this is how it is very easy to identify the reaction. Let's take example of one more. This is your violide, okay? CH3, CH3 in presence of THF. Now I hope you people have understood how to write these alkenes. Yeah, and in every reaction you are going to get this phosphorus oxide. PPH3. I always PPH3 P double bond O plus PPH3 P double bond O. Okay, so this is the reaction. You can study all these examples. I guess these examples are enough. And this is importance, advantages, and limitations of Wittig reaction. Most important advantages you can make substituted alkenes, higher alkenes, increase the carbon chain. Limitations is EZ isomers are formed, but of course you can control the formation of EZ by substituting it with electron withdrawing or donating group. So specific group gives specific isomer. I'm not going to go into that right now. I guess this is enough for you. Thank you.